Hello, everyone. We are back for our Comic-Con Fan Expo 2026 review. Once again, I am Matt, and I am joined by my partner, Nick, as we dive into this past weekend's Fan Expo Cleveland. Always fun covering the event. First and foremost. Always a fun
thought
time.
it was a great event, and we definitely have a lot to get into.
Definitely have a lot to get into because it was, for one, it was a busy weekend for us, busier than normal because, like, yeah, there's still normally like the Johnny side of things for you, but like we had a party we had to go to and had to cut a day short. That's normally our busiest day and miss some important things, which is rough, but it is what it is. So our coverage will slightly reflect that. There's not as many panels for us to put up, and we'll talk about that a bit. But overall thoughts of the show first, Nick.
Yeah, so I thought that it was clearly we have some stuff to get into, but I thought that it was an interesting time. I thought that it was really well managed on the floor. There was times where there was a lot of people, but it was kind of nice to see certain groups be able to just kind of do their thing. I can always go back to the Asian Festival as an example of that. I think that they did a really good job of putting them in a spot where their performers were going to be seen by people, being that it's like kind of right in front of the food court area. I thought the food court area having a BB Bop at it was great because there ain't no way I'm paying the prices that they were for the other stuff.
And considering BB Bop was only like a couple dollars more than what you'd actually pay for it.
Right. And you kind of get like a full meal for that. When it came to the artist area, this was the first time in a while that I didn't actually get anything. Not necessarily on them as a bad thing. There just wasn't really anything that intrigued me as much as it usually would.
Other stuff that intrigued me, it was just expensive as
well, of course,
and Batman series related.
For me, it was just like one or two things here and there that I was like, oh, I could maybe justify buying something like this, but I figured with the amount of artwork I don't have hanging up right now from years past, it didn't entirely make a lot of sense right now. But I like I said, I thought that overall it was fun. It's interesting to see how there were so many other booths in years past where you can have more experiences. As in, like, you know, we used to have like the military was there hosting like video game areas and stuff like that. You know, now the video games are in one room. And to me, it's like, you know, doesn't necessarily give a ton of room for opportunity, but you know, that might just be how they planned it. But besides that, you know, it was just a good time overall. I think that when you're at any event that you're at 3 days straight, it's hard to find new things to do. But I think that, you know, it was busy, at least for me personally. I know that, you know, we were going around covering things and I had to work on some things here and there. For me personally, I was kind of able to occupy my time the entire time, which was nice. Years past, I felt a little bit burnt out by part of the way through, you know, day 2. But yeah, how about you?
Overall, very well. It was definitely more self-contained. You mentioned the artists. I sat there and was like, there's a lot of artists that there's whose work I've wanted to buy in the past, and they weren't there this year, like Peshafex for one, or that coaster guy who I have a few of his coasters and I wanted to get a few more. So yes, I have they're in my living room, but no, there's vendors like those who weren't there. Seemed like there's a lot less vendors this time, and I don't know why, but it's it seemed more condensed for that reason.
Mhm.
I know we talked about the guest list. It was not. I thought about it after the fact. It was Oscars weekend, so like us having a smaller guest list this weekend kind of made sense because a lot of people they tend to reach out to or whatnot are at that event,
Mhm.
the space that we're in. I mean, think about it. Brendan Fraser was there for Saturday only. Saturday only. Pretty sure I saw pictures of him at the Oscars this past Sunday. So back to that end, it's just one of those things where
We're lucky the fact that he could be there for that, I guess.
exactly.
I missed him the entire time. I didn't actually I walked into the autograph area like twice just to see him just standing there, and I never saw him.
Yeah, no, that was I didn't even get to walk in the autograph area. Saturday was a lot of panel. It was a couple panels for me, and then I had to step out because it was my grandmother's birthday, so I had to get out early, take care of some things, and get to the party to take care of that. So uh, overall, I was happy with the experience. There's a couple hiccups, a couple headaches. Um, my godchildren, they had the foam fighting, and my godchildren really wanted to do that. Unfortunately, I'm not a legal guardian, so I couldn't sign the waiver on my cousin's behalf to allow them to do that. Which they were understanding about, and it wasn't until you found the game with video, or it wasn't until they found the game with the room with video games that they decided to be a little bit more understanding and lax about it. Which then the two boys went off and played NBA 2K, and the girl drew for a bit and played
An
Mario Kart.
experience that they couldn't get anywhere else, apparently.
An experience they weren't just doing less than 12 hours before in my living room. So it overall I had a fun time. The panels, really enjoyed the panels this year. The ones I got to go to at least.
Got to hear a lot about Hayden Christensen's laundry and farming, which was not something I was expecting whatsoever. But yeah you'll see.
Yeah, you will see the panels start posting tomorrow. There'll be a few of the panels. I want to say 3 of the 4 that I think I only filmed. I filmed Twilight. I filmed Tamora. I filmed Hayden. I think there's one more that I got.
Siskel and Schuster, or
no, I didn't film that this year because my battery was low. There's one more in the big room that I could have swore I got. But
Ginny Weasley.
Yes, Bonnie Wright. Thank you. So I had those 4 panels. Those will be up in the next few days, as well as our couple shorts and our review of the floor and everything. With that being said, overall, just I had a fun time, but it wasn't without its headaches. I feel fortunate and blessed to cover this convention every year. But this year was a little bit harder than most because access to how we normally do things was limited or changed, and that is not on us. What's up, Kal-El? Glad you got it. He's down in Southern Ohio. There wasn't anything Superman this year. I didn't expect you that up here, but yeah, it was frustrating to say the least too, because the panels are something we really get to show, and it's a way to share, I guess, with people what they may have missed, and
build an audience. Somebody who's interested in the subject could look at it.
Yeah, but that's not more so that's not as important to me, because for me, especially as someone who this year a lot of the panels I actually wanted to attend, I was unable to, just because how things timed up, or me having to leave and this, that, and the other. So it was frustrating to give an audience lesser quality than what could be. I am glad that the panel that was priority number one doesn't really have those issues, because I wasn't given any guff during that time. That is the Hayden Christensen panel. But it was a little bit disheartening to have the system that we've developed over the last few years of doing things get interrupted due to changes. Now, granted, I don't know if those changes will stick, but it's one of those things when putting a camera up against a wall is now a fire hazard, a tripping hazard when it's in the way of no one. That seems a bit weird. But nothing you can do about it. You got to adapt. And I apologize to everyone who goes to look at these panels and it's shaky at points because I was told I had to keep the tripod on my lap. Yes, Shatner did have my father asked me the same thing because he didn't come this time around. Shatner had shoulder surgery. And from what I saw from pictures and people I know who talked to him and saw him, he was perfectly healthy in himself. So props for that. But yeah, I just want to apologize to everyone that who watches those if they're not the quality we're used to posting on here. And hopefully next year we can be back to that quality. We'll see. But yeah, that's the best way I think that's the easiest way to cover that subject and
absolutely. And just to add to it a little bit, the only thing that I would maybe say or suggest, because that's kind of one of the reasons why we do this, a designated area that is for press that we can film. A place where we can put a tripod that might not either be in somebody's way or something like that. Just a designated area for press that, if we're in the middle of recording something and we have the press badge and somebody might interrupt, it does get in the way of a lot of what we're trying to record. Understandably, that it's rules that people are told to follow, and that is completely understandable, and we won't get in the way of that. But just, if they're looking for suggestions from us as people who are covering the event, just a thought, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, I do want to say, I want to dive into the panels a little bit. There were 2 Tamora Morrison panels and 2 Twilight panels. We filmed one of each. I saw, Nick only saw the first one. I saw both Tamora Morrison panels. And excuse me. And I saw one of the Twilight panels, and that was also the one I filmed. And it was really cool in that respect to see some of these talents embrace the city like they did. Mm-hmm. Last year, the Phelps twins, aka the Weasley twins, did so, and they talked about their trip to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and things of that nature. And so did Michaela Jill Murphy and Grey Delisle from Avatar: The Last Airbender. This year, that came in the form, granted, this is just from what I saw, of Jackson Rathbone, who plays Jasper in the Twilight films, and Tamora Morrison, who plays Boba and Jango Fett. I will say, I might not be a fan of the logo, but to have Tamora Morrison come on stage with a Chief Wahoo hat on and talk about the city for the little bit that he was there and just how he could get a vibe of how the weekend was going to be.
Cleveland, Ohio. Sorry, yes. This is the way you were.
Yes,
put a lot of emphasis on that. So,
but to hear him talk about the vibe he got for how the weekend was going to be and the people and how the people are, that was really cool. Jackson Rathbone talked about he's a burgerholic, and the first thing he did when he got off was go to Cordelia on East 4th and got a burger. And he also, when he went to Cordelia, posted about it on his socials and asked for other burger recommendations in the area. So apparently, after the show ended on Friday night, he made his way out to one of the local Swensons and got himself some Swensons as well.
I didn't know for sure if that was local enough for something like that, and would have recommended that highly, obviously.
I mean,
I had that at 1 a.m, like that. No freaking way. That night, that Friday night at 1 a.m, that's also where I was.
Yeah, no, I was.
That's my connection to Twilight now.
Not the 12-hour stream that this channel did.
Well, I was there for a little bit. All right, fine. You're right.
But having those moments was really cool, and I wish that there's a lot of stuff we covered in our preview that because of timing we didn't get to experience. Like the Mummy panel, that was something I wanted to do. Had the part. We both had the party. You had a panel at the same time. I had the party to be at. It wasn't going to happen that night. And that's unfortunate. But I'm glad. I talked to people who went to that panel. I'm glad the people who went had a great time with it. We did not, and I will make sure we do this next year. And I will tell Johnny. I will draw a line in the sand. I need this man for 2 hours uninterrupted so we can have Nick play D&D.
That's impossible. We'll just have to do that on our own.
No.
There will not be a line.
It's got to be done at the con. Johnny, I need 2 hours. That's all I'm asking. 2 hours.
If we could do it on a Friday, that would be fine because there's nothing Friday.
We normally don't have it on Friday. That's the issue.
Then you know what? Fan Expo, we need 2 hours on Friday to play D&D. All right.
Johnny loves you. He'll make an exception.
We'll figure it out. Next year is next year.
Next year is next year, and who knows? That we can be in a situation where, for all we know, you're not as needed next year, or if things line up better for you to be able to do it.
That would be what I would hope.
Well, no, I'm not saying like you're not needed as much next year is a bad thing. I just mean like things are a little bit easier on the Asian Festival side of things. That's more so what I mean by that.
Yeah.
But solid con. I hope next year there are more guests. We do have the dates for next year. I do need to check. Does that line up with the Oscars again? Oscars 2027.
Well, you're doing that.
I'm checking it.
It was really cool. Oh, sorry. Go on.
It is the Academy Award. There's no official date yet, but it would not be a shock if that was next year. Oh no, we do have a date. It's March 28th next year, so it won't be Oscars weekend.
Yeah, there's an opportunity for more people. But as always, one of my favorite things about this is the local showcase. Anytime that you could bring people in and associate something that they enjoy with something nerdy that they like, it's always nice. Unfortunately, I don't know if you went, but I didn't even realize when it was. Obviously, we talked about it in our preview, the Greater Cleveland Film Commission panel.
It was during the Twilight panel, so I didn't.
Gotcha. We always like to try and make it out there.
Like I said, there was a lot of I want to go to this, but this is just shortly after, and this is the priority for the sake of business, and that sucks because I have a solid relationship with the people at the Cleveland Film Commission, and to have to blow that off because a massive panel that I couldn't miss is just happening. It sucks. I hate it.
So but yeah, obviously we love that local showcase. We love what it can bring. Our panels I thought went pretty well this year. I will admit the certain ones that had happened weren't as marketed as well, and it was bizarre. One of my suggestions maybe for next year would be don't have panels in the video game room because it's more of a community room than anything else.
Yes.
So Johnny's like AI panel became more of a community discussion than it was a panel itself. My one big gripe, we need bigger screens in the panel rooms. They essentially have small TVs next to
Not
us.
small TVs. They're 50 inch.
They're big enough, but I will just an example, right? And they're associated with them. So that's the only reason why I'm bringing this up.
Yeah.
Is the horror nightmare weekend associated with them?
That is not associated with it. That is a different company altogether.
Ignore that. Either way, when we had our Everyday Dread panel there, we were in a room with bigger screens. That's the only thing. If it's like a filmmaker showcase or something like that, I think that a projector would be better than just a TV screen. That's just me personally. I know that's not necessarily the easiest logistic thing, but especially if the room starts to fill up the way that it did during the fight choreography panel, the way that it did, a person in the back might not be able to see the screen as well as somebody else. So that's the only reason why I bring it up.
I will say I think a lot of the projectors tend to get used for a couple of the other rooms around, like 26. Like they use 2 in the grand ballroom. They use
yeah. It's just an idea.
Yeah,
I don't know. Because I only say that because actually in years past for the festival there has been like bigger screens and stuff like that with rooms like that. So that's all.
I can't remember there being bigger screens in those rooms.
Really big TVs mounted in the back. That's the only thing I remember. I have pictures and old stuff. Okay. I really need to prove it, but
I don't know. I could have sworn it's the same TVs. That's all I was going to say. And I think it just depends on the room, because the fight choreography panel 10 used in years past was always on the other side of the
mm-hmm.
and then I went to, I didn't get film of it, but Mac and I went to a back to the feature panel, and we sat in the back and we were still able to see the screen that was there fine. So maybe it just varies depending on the room.
Yeah. I will say though that the lightsaber panel that we do every year, bear in mind that it's a lot easier when we provided our own microphones that were wireless so we could wear them. For Albert and I, but it went really well. I think that the cosplay showcase area is one of the best places for an interactive panel such as that.
Yes, but when it comes to safety, it's always something I still worry about there.
Yeah,
we've had our years where we're in a closed room and it's worked out better for the sake of safety.
Sure, but at the same time, people who are walking in and out of the con can see that and go, "Oh, I want to try that."
That's the upside of that. So.
But I thought that was a success, and we were able to provide our own wireless microphones and a speaker. So they do have a DJ over there all the time, and he's not always like there at this station. So sometimes his music is like blaring over what we're trying to say. And there is that side of things where it's like, hey, should I be turning down his equipment? Not necessarily, but in desperation, will I? Sure. So it's just like, maybe but other than that, like we had a good turnout, able to pair some people up and Albert could teach them some lightsaber stuff while we kind of demoed it for him. And that was a great time.
Yeah, it was. I'm definitely excited for all future endeavors at this convention. I love seeing it grow. I will say, at first on Saturday, because we talked about this that day, we were like, "Oh my God, it's so dead for a Saturday. What the hell's going on?"
And then, literally, with the snap of
within an
finger,
hour,
I could not move, and that sucked because I had a whole camera set up ready to go to carry around.
It was. I remember. So,
but good for the convention, obviously.
Yes, leaving the Back to the Future panel, it took me, once I got to that front entrance to get onto the show floor right by the cosplayers, it took 5 minutes to walk from there to just the aisle that was over one. 5 minutes. And as soon as I got to that aisle, I beelined it because the side aisles were dead. The main aisle, and I should say the secondary aisles were dead. The main aisle and the aisles that wrap around it, or that the turns, those initial turns, were jam packed to the gills, and that was a pain.
Speaking of jam packed, they had Hayden Christensen away from everybody else, which was interesting because at this convention, at least, I know in past conventions you said it has happened.
Yes, so that's
something that we had never seen.
Something Nick had never seen.
Well, I'm saying, I know you saw it at a different convention.
So same company, and I think this is smart on their part because it helps alleviate some of that pressure on the main floor, is putting the really, really high end, we're going to get a lot of visitors talent in their own separate room. And it helps because now you don't have people fighting through that show floor. They're over in a corner and they're just doing their thing. I initially saw it at Fan Expo Chicago last summer, where I went with our buddy Brian. He went there to get the remaining actors in the Avatar voice cast that he was missing. And we were like, we wanted to, I think it was Ewan who was there, Ewan and John Cena, and we're like, where the hell are they? And for us, we didn't know, and then we found out later on they were in their own their own rooms on a separate floor, and that's where the lines were. And then the first thing I did, and I think I brought it up to you on Friday because you're like, I don't see Hayden. I'm like, I think I know what they did. We'll find out. And as we were walking to the panel, to the first Tamara Morrison panel, I saw it. I said, "Yep, they did do it." And you're like, "What's that?" And I pointed to the room where I'm like, he separated in his own room just to make things easier. They had the photo op set up in there, so he doesn't really have to leave that room other than his breaks. So photo op is set up in there, his autograph set up in there, and it makes life at the convention a lot more easier for the majority of parties involved. Which it was nice to run into our friend Jenna, who it's been a while. Real quick, love you, Jenna. Congrats on your recent nuptials. It was nice to finally meet your husband. So there is that. But I think we've covered everything in regards to this. The convention will be back. I will cover that real quick. The convention did give us the dates. They are coming back next year. I'm just going to go to the email from Jerry real quick, where he said the dates for next year are March 12th to March 14th. So we will hopefully be back next March to cover Fan Expo Cleveland. This was the 11th year, if you count the Wizard World years, that they've done this. For that woman who said she had come to 15 of these, I'm like, that math ain't mathing because they didn't start till I was out of high school.
Right. I mean, could have been like I've been to many Fan Expo events.
Right, and that's totally. But she's like, I've been to 15 here. I'm like,
no, you haven't.
Don't math. But no. So we want to thank Jerry and Fan Expo PR for allowing us to come again.
Yeah, thank you.
We've been doing this for I want to say on the YouTube side of things since 2021. Yeah, 2022 on the YouTube side of things is the how long we've been doing this. And overall, we've been doing this as press. Our first year press-wise was, I want to say 2020. It was 2019 or 2020. So because I know we did it the Sam Levine interview, but
6 years ago. Sam Levine, so 6 years ago.
Yeah, but I could have swore we did it the year before. It's the Phil Lamar.
Phil Lamar and Sam Levine were the same year. I'm looking at it right now.
2020. So yeah, we've been doing this 5 years, because of course there was not one in 2021. So 5 straight shows we've been doing this, and we love doing it every year.
There wasn't one in 2020. I'm looking at it right now.
I said there wasn't one in 2021.
Oh. I thought you said 2020. Yeah.
No, because I know the reason I can remember 2020 is because, again, it was the situation of we had the show. My grandmother's birthday was one of those nights. We went to the party after the show, and then a couple days later, the world ended.
Right.
So let's hope the same thing doesn't happen in the coming days.
Agreed.
But yeah, that's 5 years of covering this. Actually 6. Because 2020, no, it's fine. 2020,
it's not overthinking.
2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. No, this is the 6th one, because 2020, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. This was our 6th year of covering the event. Damn, no wonder why they blend together so much. But I love it each time we get to, and I love getting the opportunity to talk to the people we do. Tomorrow, I can commit to 2 videos for sure being up. That will be the Sonny Strait interview, which our buddy Mac handled that beautifully. You'll be able to see that tomorrow morning. And the Hayden Christensen panel. Those 2 will guaranteed be up by noon. By noon tomorrow. There's a solid chance that there is a Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer reaction.
There better be.
Well, if that thing started at 9,
I know
that would tell me the trailer is going to be up by 9 a.m. tomorrow. Which, if that's the case, I can actually do a reaction for it. Unlike Dune, which dropped at noon today, for some reason dropped on TikTok first. But yeah, I apologize for not doing a Dune reaction. I was at work when it came out, and I'm like, I'm not waiting to watch this, so I just watched it. So there was not going to be a reaction there. But Spider-Man, Brand New Day, as long as that trailer drops at 9 tomorrow, I will have that reaction out. Sonny Strait interview will drop after that, and by noon you'll have the Hayden Christensen up, if not more up by later in the evening. Project Hail Mary review will be up Thursday. As well as other con coverage. It was a busy week last week, and it will be a busy week this week. I am starting to get gassed thinking about it. But with that was our review for Fan Expo Cleveland 2026. Thank you for tuning in. If you did, let us know in the comments if you went to Fan Expo, what your favorite part is. And with that, remember to check out everything we do over here at Watt Real Entertainment, whether that be our reactions, our podcasts, our reviews. Most recently, had a podcast for the Daily Profit Cast with myself and Andre Moses. It looks like we may have another one of those this Sunday, potentially. It'll be Friday or Sunday, so keep an eye out for that. And like I mentioned, the Project Hail Mary review already. I got my invite to the Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario Galaxy today, so I know when I'm doing that. Check out our sister channel, Watt Real Gaming, where our Twitch streams go to live after the fact, run by our business partner, Taylor Cleek, who does a fantastic job over on the Twitch side of things. But yeah, that is all. So with that, thank you to Jerry, Fan Expo, our buddy Mac Robinson, who does a fantastic job helping us out on the weekend.
Absolutely.
And everyone who's checked this out or goes to Fan Expo or is subscribing to this channel. With that, signing off, I am Matt. that is Nick, and this was another Real Talk. We'll see you next time.